Knowledge is power. Successful planning requires that managers make informed decisions. Marketing research is a critical function that provides this necessary information. While this may sound like a straightforward proposition, careful coordination and control is called for in order to ensure that research is conducted in an ethical manner and does no harm to the participant, either physically or mentally. It also means that marketers need to respect consumers' privacy. Marketers must clearly explain to respondents how their data will be stored, used, and reported, as well as disclosing the degree to which their individual confidentiality and anonymity will be protected. In particular, it would be considered unethical to collect personal information or other data under the guise of research, when in fact the purpose in contacting customers is to build a database for direct marketers. A marketing information system consists of three components: 1. Data, 2. Computer hardware and software, and 3. MIS experts. It determines what information managers need and then gather, sorts, analyze, stores, and distributes relevant and timely marketing information to system users. Every company relies on some form of marketing research, particularly when specialized information not acquired through marketing intelligence is needed to make a decision. After exhausting internal data and publicly available information gathered via marketing intelligence, firms will either purchase syndicated marketing research data or contact with a research firm to conduct a customized research study. Syndicated research is often collected by professional market research firms on a regular basis and packaged into different types of reports and then sold to other business firms. Ongoing studies such as the Nielsen Television Index tracks TV ratings and is usually sold on a subscription basis. Other reports can be purchased individually. Other forms of syndicated data may provide insight into consumer perceptions of celebrities, Q-scores, and consumer buying behavior and media consumption. Experian Simmons Market Research Bureau and Claritas Prism software. This diagram of a typical marketing information system shows how its key components fit together to meet a manager's information needs. Information sources for an MIS may include formal marketing research studies as well as previously published internal or external data. Data is stored in a data warehouse and readily available when needed. Some MISs have a decision support system that puts managers online. Decision Software System is a computer program that makes it easy for a marketing manager to get and use information while he or she is making decisions. A search engine is a computer program that helps a marketing manager find information that is needed. The marketing model is a statement of relationships among marketing variables. It allows a manager to see how answers to questions might change in various what-if situations. The outcomes of the decisions become feedback to the process. The database is continually refreshed with new information, making it an up-to-the-minute management tool. What is internal company data? It is a variety of information from within the firm that can be helpful to marketers. Internal data is collected and analyzed by MIS systems. It often includes sales data by date, product category, brand or customers, as well as information pertaining to stockouts or defective products. Many MIS systems also track marketing inputs, such as the amount of money spent on advertising or sales promotions, as well as the resulting outputs, coupon redemption rates, for example. The prevalence of technology in business today makes it easy for sales representatives or other individuals working away from the office to access this wealth of internal information while on the go. Sales reps in particular benefit from the ability to tap into their firm's intranet. Instant access to their company's internal communications network means that reps can double-check the inventory status of items before they are ordered, as well as provide instant feedback to clients who have questions related to delivery dates, pricing policies, or other information which can be found via the intranet. External databases can be used to collect a variety of information from different sources. They may include non-competing businesses and government databases. Misuse of databases can be problematic and has led to the Do Not Call list and anti-spam laws. Have you ever wondered why you receive some of the direct mail pieces that you do? Most likely it's because the marketer has purchased your name from an acquired database of some type. Acquired databases are sold by a variety of non-competing businesses and by other entities such as magazine publishers. The government offers a wealth of information for free via the census website as well as others. The use of databases for marketing purposes is being scrutinized carefully by the government, as misuse of this information can easily result in invasion of privacy. While analyzing trend data is generally considered to be an acceptable use of database information, using this same data as a source for unsolicited email or phone calls is more problematic, and consumer backlash has eventually led the government to institute anti-spam laws as well as the Do Not Call list. A marketing intelligence system is a method by which marketers get information about everyday happenings in the marketing environment. The majority of marketing intelligence is gathered by monitoring everyday sources such as news articles, trade publications, websites, or even simple observations in the marketplace, as well as discussions with salespeople or others. Marketing managers use marketing intelligence to predict fluctuations in sales or to forecast the future so they will be on top of developing trends. It is vitally important to train and motivate sales force to spot new developments, to motivate distributors, retailers to pass along important intelligence, to learn about competitors, to set up a customer advisory panel, to purchase information from other sources, and set up a marketing information system to collect and circulate marketing intelligence. While marketing information systems generate reports helpful for routine decision-making, sometimes these reports are inadequate or managers want information different from that which is delivered via the reports. The marketing decision support systems can address problems that are too vague or unusual for an MIS system to readily answer. It is more powerful because even individuals who aren't computer experts can run custom reports on their own via interactive software. It includes both statistical and modeling software tools. Statistical software is helpful in examining complex relationships among variables. Perceptual maps and multidimensional scaling are two examples. Modeling software allows decision makers to ask "what if" types of questions. Data mining has 4 important applications for marketing. Customer acquisition. Many firms include demographic and other information about customers in their database. For example, a number of supermarkets offer weekly special price discounts for store members. These store membership application forms require that customers indicate their age, family size, address, and so on. With this information, the supermarket determines which of its current customers respond best to specific offers and then sends the same offers to non-customers who share the same demographic characteristics. The firm identifies big spending customers and then targets them for special offers and inducements other customers won't receive. Keeping the most profitable customers coming back is a great way to build business success because keeping good customers is less expensive than constantly finding new ones. Strange as it may sound, sometimes a firm wants customers to take their business elsewhere because servicing them actually costs the firm too much. Today, this is popularly called firing a customer. For example, a department store may use data mining to identify unprofitable customers, those who are not spending enough or who return most of what they buy. In recent years, data mining has allowed Sprint to famously identify customers as the good, the bad, and the ugly. Market basket analysis develops focused promotional strategies based on the records of which customers have bought certain products. Hewlett-Packard, for example, carefully analyzes which of their customers recently bought new printers and targets them to receive emails about specials on ink cartridges and tips to get the most out of their machine. So let's identify the steps in the research process. Step 1 requires understanding clearly the information needed. As part of this process, what are the research objectives? The questions that the research firm will answer. The consumer population from whom the information will be gathered is also identified, and those factors in the firm's internal external business environment which might influence the situation are also identified. In order to place a problem into an environmental context, research objectives may stem from market feedback that indicates a true problem of some type, or it may reflect the firm's interest in capitalizing upon a potential. The second step involves determining the research design. A great deal of time, money and effort can be saved if secondary data is available to help fulfill the research objectives before engaging in the expense of primary research. Secondary data is information that is being collected for some purpose other than the research problem at hand. As previously identified, there are a number of sources of secondary data, both internal and external to the firm, though the quality of data can vary. For example, data purchased from syndicated research firms, which exist solely for the purpose of collecting and selling market research data, tends to be very high quality. Information gathered by trade associations and the United States government also tends to be of high quality, though data provided by other foreign governments may not be as valid. Care must be taken to carefully evaluate information posted to websites to ascertain whether or not the information found is factual in nature or simply reflective of the author's opinion. Despite a researcher's best efforts, it's often impossible to truly fulfill the research objectives and answer the market research problems without collecting and analyzing primary data. Primary data is information collected directly from respondents to specifically address the research objectives and problem at hand. Primary data primarily takes the form of either exploratory research, descriptive research, or causal research. Exploratory research is particularly useful when marketers are trying to identify new strategies, new product opportunities, or when the need to understand in detail how consumers feel about a product or service. Researchers gather this information via in-depth consumer program, using focus groups or ethnographic studies, or by means of case study data. Exploratory research is qualitative in nature, meaning that the research results tend to be non-numeric and thus inappropriate for most forms of statistical analysis. However, many forms of exploratory research provide rich data containing a wealth of thoughts, feelings, verbal descriptions, and even pictures. Focus groups consist of 5 to 9 individuals who typically share certain characteristics and have agreed to participate in an in-depth discussion of the product or service in question. Case studies examine a firm or organization thoroughly, often for the purpose of identifying how certain processes or procedures are accomplished. Ethnographic studies borrow their methodology from the anthropology profession and often visit people's homes to see how they store and use products and services. The larger sample size and manner in which manner in which the data is collected typically allows researchers to express the results in terms of averages, percentages, and more advanced forms of statistical analyses. While more and more surveys are being conducted over the internet due primarily to lower costs and quicker turnarounds, online surveys are not without problems. It is important that the relative advantages and disadvantages of each survey method be considered before selecting the type of questionnaire to administer. Observation refers to situations in which the researcher records consumer behavior. Personal observations may occur in a grocery store when a researcher watches consumer actions as they take place. Sometimes researchers use unobtrusive measures instead. These require researchers to measure traces of physical evidence that remain after some action on the part of the consumer has been taken. For example, garbologists go through the consumer's trash to find evidence of the products they consume. Mechanical forms of observation can often provide observations more cheaply and accurately than can in-person methods. Some examples include traffic counters placed at busy intersections and people meters that track television viewing habits. Online research is the fastest way to collect data. It's also less expensive and perhaps the most versatile, as marketers can use the internet for both exploratory research via online focus groups and in-depth interviews and descriptive research via internet surveys. Data gathered online may be done so by two methods: passively via consumers' website surfing and actively by enticing consumers to answer email questionnaires, online questionnaires, and focus groups. The process of selecting participants for a research study is known as sampling. Two types of sampling exist: probability and non-probability. Probability samplers are generally considered to be the superior choice because information obtained from these samples can be generalized to the larger population than the sample is supposed to represent. The same cannot be said of non-probability samples. In simple random sampling, every member of the population has an equal known chance of being selected to participate in the research study. Pulling names out of a hat or using a random number table to select participants are examples of this method. Systematic random sampling occurs when the researcher has a numbered list of all elements in the population. By dividing the population size by the sample size, a skip interval is determined. The researcher then selects a random starting point on the list and then counts down the skip interval to select the next member of the sample. This process continues until all sample members have been selected. Stratified sampling is used when the researcher wishes to segment participants within a study. The population is first divided along the characteristics of interest, gender, or some other factors. Respondents in each segment are then randomly selected in the studies. The quality of the research results is only as good as the poorest interviewer in the study. Marketers must train and supervise field personnel to gather data appropriately, or the information obtained may be tainted by interviewer bias. Data gathered in foreign countries presents four key challenges. Major differences exist in the sophistication of research operations in various countries, as well as the amount of data available. Infrastructure differences may impede telephone surveys or online research efforts among a large proportion of the population that do not have access to the technology, while low literacy hurts marketers' ability to gather mail survey data in many countries. Local customs and cultural differences may also influence how questions are interpreted and answered in different countries. Involving local researchers in the questionnaire design process may be beneficial. Language translation difficulties are common because sometimes things just don't come out right. Embarrassment can often be avoided by using back translation, a process by which a native of the country translates the questionnaire from English to the language of the targeted respondents, and a different native translates the resulting questionnaire back into English. The data must be analyzed and interpreted in order to be useful for decision making. Two of the most common and simplest forms of analysis include the presentation of data in tables, called tabulation, and the use of cross-tabulation to show how data varies by subgroups between two or more variables. The final step in the marketing research process is to prepare a report of the research results that clearly and concisely tell readers what they need to know. Research reports typically contain the following sections: an executive summary of the report that covers the high points of the total report, an understandable description of the research methods, a complete discussion of the results of the study, including the tabulations, cross-tabulations, and additional statistical analyses. Limitations of the study. No study is perfect. Conclusions drawn from the results, and the recommendations for managerial action based on the results. As with any area of marketing, there are ethical issues involved in the use and possible misuse of information gathered via marketing research. Among the more common ethical issues are ones dealing with decisions about withholding certain types of marketing research information. Marketing managers or research suppliers might withhold important details about data collection. A research supplier may not want to tell the whole story to avoid being the bearer of bad news. Other unscrupulous marketing research suppliers may turn their data over to telemarketers or list brokers without permission. Finally, there are very skilled people who also know how to lie with statistics and therefore misrepresent information. The best defense for the marketer is to know something about market research. In order to have good market research, it's extremely important for the marketing manager and the marketing researcher to develop a good working relationships. Sometimes developing a good relationship is difficult because the marketing manager and the researcher come from somewhat different professional worlds. Marketing managers need research because they have problems they want to solve, but they sometimes have trouble explaining what they need to a researcher. On the other hand, researchers who are very skilled in the technical aspects of marketing research may not completely understand the decision situation facing the manager. The bottom line is that collaboration between the researcher and the manager is absolutely necessary if the research effort is going to be successful. And here are some internet sites for market research.